the consequences of this are so bad that you're hearing people like Noah Hawley come out and go, you know, we need to make more traditional stuff. No, you know, just good stories.
Ship sailed.
Too late.
I'm over it. I'm over it. You spent the last 10 years telling us all we were pieces of shit and expecting us to pay for the privilege. I hope you all fucking get fired. I hope you all go bankrupt. I will not miss you.
Nerderotic.com.
I watched an interview. It was on Film Courage with a writer who thinks they just won. They just kicked ass. They're like, oh, we got everything we want. This is great. And he said the reason the WGA that got this deal so fast was Netflix had this terrible quarter. They tried to push reality TV on everybody and nobody wanted it. Except the problem is Netflix just reported their best quarter almost ever. So that wasn't
and they're raising their prices.
And they're raising their prices. So I don't know where it just depends on who you talk to. But this thing it's a biblical disaster for Hollywood now. They've already talked about if they were producing over the last couple of years or year 600 shows, they're going to produce 300 now.
Good.
Half the shows. It's historic how much money they have lost over these strikes. And somehow the writers, and it's just the writers and actors, we're not talking about like who, you know, the below the line people, as they call them, how many of them are affected and out of work forever. They're also, you don't have to pull up this article, but there's another article about Netflix by itself is spending $2.5 billion in Korea to outsource their ass now. So it's been kind of funny that they've walked around claiming victory like everybody, and you know, you have to do that as a union. I get it, but it's still not true.
Is there any chance in the next 5 years that we could see Disney have to want to sell Marvel or Star Wars or start brand, or, you know, putting them in a deal where they sold the rights to certain things? Do we think that's a realistic possibility? Because that's the only way that these things will ever get turned around, is if Disney has to sell these assets because they're hurting so bad.
Are you suggesting that George Lucas could buy back Star
Wars? No, I'm definitely not.
Very, very big discount, making him the most savvy businessman in all of history.
Yeah, I mean, well, George personally, no. George is way too old. I think there's like a video Ryan talked about.
No,
he's like, George is.
He looks
too
like he's going
old.
to die in the next couple of years. It's really
Yeah,
he just had a daughter.
Yeah, he's but looking at it from a perspective of just, there's no way that Disney under its current structure, there's no scenario where any of this gets fixed, in my opinion, whether it's Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, because we've seen the executives at Disney talk about the not so gay agenda on camera. We've seen the leaked Zoom calls. These are top executives that are still at the company. They despise you. And so that would be my only interest level in it, because like, I am at the point of apathy with a lot of this stuff. I just do not fucking care about Marvel or Disney or any of the content that they're providing. I wonder if that's the path, like if they keep suffering and struggling because you've lost such a foundation of the fan base. And now, as we discussed just a little bit earlier, the people that you were pandering to wanted to be involved with it when there was clout involved, and there's not clout involved in this shit anymore. There's none.
In terms of the actual question you asked, Jeremy, no, they're not selling Star Wars. They're not selling Marvel. The reason is because those things have tangible fucking value in the future, whether it's just like licensing agreements with toy company, like shit like this. And it goes far beyond, even for making video games, whatever. Now, what they might do and what they've already like expressed interest in doing is selling off some of their other assets. Like, I don't know, every TV channel that they fucking own, because linear television is dying. They're looking for partners to come in and do something bigger with ESPN. But in terms of those things that they think they can see tangible value in, whether it's just like solely the ability to have control over the original trilogy and even the prequels and like distribution rights for those things over the next, I don't know, 50 years, even that has like a lot of tangible value to it that I couldn't see them selling it.
We're in pretty unprecedented times at the moment, though, so who knows, right? Like a lot of stuff that has happened that nobody thought was going to happen. So the idea that, like, you know, Jeff Bezos is like, you know what, I grew up on Star Wars. I love Star Wars,
exactly.
These guys have fucked it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy it up, and guess what? This is gonna be great. It's really not off the table.
Yeah.
But we'd have to
Lord
see
of the Rings
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have a few failures.
But
there.
that idea.
His point being, you know, and you never know. I mean, again, back in 2020, I was very like, just like Shit is fucked up, man. Like what happened on Twitter, you couldn't have convinced me that in 2023 we would be sitting in this situation where Twitter has fundamentally changed and Elon Musk bought it for. You could not have convinced me that was possible. And I was looking at what happened when Trump was banned and how people were banned all over the place for having opinions, the COVID situation. And to think that we're now 3 years later, it's really crazy that Elon owns Twitter at this point. It really is. And could that happen in the entertainment world? Yes. Will it? Probably no, but it could.
It affected everything across the board, the COVID situation. And what we need to call the COVID situation what it was the COVID response situation. That's what it was. That's what ruined San Francisco. That's what's ruining Hollywood. That's what's ruined so many things was the COVID response. These repercussions, inflation's going up because they printed a bunch of money. They stopped making movies in Hollywood for a year. It's going to affect theaters again because they've stopped making movies for 6 months. So theaters are going to start closing again. They're not going to get bailed out this time. So these repercussions, we don't even know like how bad it's it had to get so bad on Twitter because we got lied to so fucking much that we had a crazy billionaire come in and actually wanted to buy something that he thought he could make money off of, but he also felt like something needs to change. And now, seeing Twitter community note YouTube is, oh, wow. I just saw
community noted the White House
with each other. I saw them fucking roasting each other. Yeah. Community noting the White House. Like that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it was always supposed to be. Yeah. So we're like, it's nice to see we're so far away because we had one crazy billionaire go up against the Bond villains. And I was talking to my wife last night. It's like we live in a world of fucking real life Bond villains. The problem is if we had a real life Bond, he'd work for them. That's the problem.
It is, man. It's a wild situation to watch all this play out. But I'm just saying that the more Disney struggles on the overall business structure, the more that it could be possible. Maybe it's wishful thinking at this point in time. But yeah, the idea of Jeff Bezos buying it, and then I immediately thought, rings of power.
Jeff Bezos bought Lord of the Rings, not because he loved Lord of the Rings. He didn't give a shit about Lord of the Rings. He wanted to compete. He wanted his own Game of Thrones. That's all. Right. He wanted a vanity project. And that's what the two biggest streamers, the ones with the most liquid right now, are vanity projects, are Apple and Amazon. And that's what's got Hollywood the most scared, is because they could just abandon these vanity projects and it wouldn't affect their bottom line at all. It'd probably be better for them because they're losing tons of money on these things right now.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.
Hey, if you like what we do here at Nerdrotic Daily, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you could do that with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.